ladies and gentlemen, we are here with you again to work on the full hoverboard board. And so we're going to be taking it out of the mold, temporary tape mold, seeing how the wax melted, and then we're going to trim it down a little bit. Alrighty. Get this off of it, this off of it. Alright. Okay. Should be pretty fascinating to see how this works out. So the goal with this one is to see how close we are to technologies that can support wheelless hover. It's one thing everyone kind of asks about. And we're going to try it out. We'll just trim down this mold here a little bit. And then, I'm going to need to trim just flatten that out a little bit. Keeping in mind, this is actually the bottom of the board, you guys. So this is the top. Just flatten that out. See that? And of course, the wax is acting as the propulsion here, wax core, while the core container is there to absorb some impact. Best of both worlds. Propulsion, stabilization. Because the mass, this kind of handles the third dimension, this handles the fifth dimension. So the true momentum, of course, is coming from the rider in the non-batteried versions. So in this case, the propulsion is more to it's maintaining propulsion rather than accelerating. All right. See that there? It's pretty cool. Give that a test as it is right now. Obviously, we're not getting very much movement. I'm tempted to test this piece by itself, but let's go ahead and groove them up. This one's kind of interesting because it's like, what's the main goal with the grooves? But let's go for it. There's no time like the present. I'm wondering if I should go down or if I should keep it level, but I'm going to go ahead and go down. Let's see how that's working. Start getting the grooves in there. The stairs, the hover stairs. It's not perfect. It's a little bit worse than my part. What I should have done is just cut it all the way down first, flat, and then put the notches in it. that for the rest of it here. So let's just cut into there. I know someone's going to be like, yeah, obviously. Well, I didn't figure it out right away. To make this a little easier, let's go ahead and bring in the store, time machine store. Perfect. Is it at a better height to work at? So I'm just trying to get this down a little bit more. Okay, that's good. And then we just need another groove. Although I also want to take it down at an angle from here. Since there's no wheels, I'll have to come up with something else I can do on that as well. Okay, let's bring this guy down. Good work. Good work. Okay, so these grooves, these hover stairs, this one's so janky, but the time machine will hopefully compensate for the lack of precision. And really, lack of precision can be a benefit when working in a time machine because it gives you more variables to work with. I know that sounds like a cop-out, but let's go ahead and just test this on something really quick. Bring that time machine studio back in here. You know what's a good testing device? One, another board, but before we do that, it's interesting. Interesting. I kind of dig that though. That's even before the 7D core array. I'm digging that. Let's test against some hard obstacle. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. Go ahead and wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. We're giving a little bit of a boost in the back, but even that is really just impressive. That is impressive. impressive. Now we just have to hope that this next piece works out as well as we think it's going to. Go ahead and just do one dynamics test before we even get into that concept. This is for pure data right here. Pure data. We just need to see exactly what's going on. See, so the funny thing, people ask a lot about the slime. What does the slime do? As a quasi-material, it one acts as a sort of pseudo quantum stand-in, almost like a virtual particle generator. And I'm doing my best to explain this off top, but and two, kind of acts a little bit as a particle collider. Very fascinating. Okay. And so the slime tests just give us so much more data to work with because they're sort of multi-dimensional nature and relative to other solid materials. Okay. As I thought, it's mostly moving on the grooves. One more test. This is a gold slime, which should have some of the same effects as some of the other gold that I'm using. As I said before, elements are directions in time, even suggestions of elements. So obviously this is not actual gold, but it's able to give us a little bit of steering in that gold direction. Okay, perfect. And what is a gold destination? So many correlations. But gold has very specific time properties. It's one of the most time dynamic substances in the world due to its inertness and then the heaviness of the atom, which causes the gold color by forcing its electrons to be affected by the mass of the nucleus, increasing its speed. Creating the gold color. Alright, excellent work. Excellent. All in a day's work. Next time I really could use some of this foam as a mold for the board. I'm going to do one more very specific test. Okay. Definitely worth it to do. Look at that. The slime is actually moving into the pores, which actually is going to guard them from other substances, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to leave that there, more or less. Just try to remove some of the surface aspects of it, because when it dries it's actually going to slick it up a little bit. But I'm not going to add any more than necessary because that's not really what I'm testing for, but I'll allow the time machine to capture the extra data anyway. Be careful. Alright, that's it for now on this one. Let's go ahead and finish these notches, and then we'll be ready to set the 7D core arrays on both. See, now I could do really good notches. Look at that, perfect. Perfect. Okay, we cut all the way to the base, which is actually a good sign. On this small of a model, it's going to be tough to be as precise as we would be on a large scale version. That's cool. Okay, great. Get these grooves a little bit better. And let's get that bottom groove to the core of it. It's better if all that wax pops off, actually. These steps are a lot less defined, but I think that actually is going to end up being perfect for the data that I need. It's actually way better, because there's going to be, times when you're in the wild and you're not going to get it as refined as you want, so this will help me test some of those variables. Because I don't want it to be a fine-tuned thing. Look at that. I want it to be something that just works because it works. All right, let's go ahead and this is kind of annoying to me. That looks way better. Great work. Great work. And that'll get some good testing going. Yep. Alright. See you guys back soon.